Want to bring in Tera Brown. She's George Floyd's first cousin and the director of the George Floyd Foundation. Tera, good morning. Thank you for being with us. Just so our viewers know, you've been on MSNBC before, but you were closest in age to George when you were growing up in Houston, and you say that he was your first best friend.
Yes, absolutely. You know, in those days we were growing up, it was all we had was really our family. So we were very close.
One of the things you said the other day is that you were with Alex Witt, my colleague, and you said, I want to see the criminal justice system work like it's supposed to, but I can't help but have some concerns. What did you mean by that? What concerns do you have?
Well, my concern is I would hope that we would get a jury of George's peers, because what we ultimately want to see is a jury of 12 people who can be fair and impartial, look at the evidence, and make the right decision.
Is there anyone in America you think who's impartial right now on this issue?
I would hope that there are people who can be impartial. We know that everybody's seen the video or some sort of media attached to what happened to George. But I'm hoping that there are people who can put their opinions aside and look at the evidence that's presented in the courtroom and make the right decision.
And Ms. Brown, if you look at that evidence, and this is one of the things I remember from the days right after George's death in Minneapolis, talking to people who had taken to the streets to protest it, a lot of people on the street says, what more do you need? We had several angles of video rolling the whole time that showed exactly what happened. No resistance on the part of George Floyd, certainly no meaningful resistance on the part of George Floyd, and then this watching him die at the hands of police. What if an impartial jury looks at the evidence, what are you thinking they will take away from it?
What I'm thinking they will take away from it is what I see and what I think the rest of the world has seen is that George was murdered. What happened to him that day, it shouldn't have happened. There's no reason for that to occur the way that it did. 8 minutes, 46 seconds with the knee on his neck was obsessive. It was more than what it took. I just think that everyone who saw that will see the same thing that I saw.
It's going to be horrible to relive this in court. It always is for the family of someone who's been killed, particularly someone who's been brutally killed, like George. Does it help you, or is it harder that the world is watching this with you?
It helps in a lot of ways because we've gained so much support from people in the world, in our community, in our state, and even in Minneapolis and around the world. So, it's hard to be in the public eye when you're going through something like this, but we've learned to accept that this is where we are, and we appreciate the support that we've received. Beyond
this case, which drew such attention to similar cases and the things that have been going on that weren't videotaped and that black people in this country have been complaining about for a long time, do you think that it can lead to material change? We've got the George Floyd policing bill, which was passed by the House but didn't go through the Senate, which would ban chokeholds, at least at a federal level. It may not have an effect in a place like Minneapolis, but at least on a federal level, it would ban certain no-knock warrants in drug cases at the federal level. It doesn't necessarily change something in these 18,000 police forces around the country, which is where so many of these terrible things happen. Well, we definitely hope to see actual change come from this, because at this point we know that we can never get George back. So at the very least, hopefully we can save some other lives. So ultimately, yes, we would love to see actual change and actual police reform.
that bans chokeholds and other things that, we view as police brutality at this point.
We were talking. I was speaking to Chris Stewart, one of the family's lawyers, about the settlement that was paid by the city of Minneapolis to the family. And one of the points he made is that it causes people to value Black lives. So when you say Black Lives Matter or Black lives are valuable, when you have to pay out a lot of money because the city took a Black life, that adds something to the equation. And the other thing he's talked about is that police chiefs around the country will have to think about the fact that they're going to cost their cities and their taxpayers and their forces money if they don't do the right thing. Do you think that helps? Do you think that settlement is going to have some impact on policing in Minneapolis and in other places?
I think it should. It should, because if it causes people to think about their actions before they take them, absolutely. If it's going to make officers look at accountability, yes, I think it would be worthwhile.
Tera Brown, I know it's been almost 10 months, but the pain's not going to ever go away. Thank you for talking to us about it. I'm sorry for what you're going to have to go through in the following weeks, but the nation and the world will have its eyes on you. So thank you. Tera Brown is a cousin of George Floyd, and she is the director of the George Floyd Foundation. Thanks for being with us this morning.